When you don't have 20 minutes to watch a full review, when you're not looking for a how to play or an hour-long playthrough, and let's be honest, when the interest is a little lower too, that's why we have 6 small box games for you. Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and we are continuing our 6 small box game review series. Over here on the table, we have 6, appropriately enough, small box games. We're going to be diving into each of these very briefly, giving you a bit of an overview, how the game plays, thoughts and opinions, and rating on that game. And let's go ahead and start off with Incan Gold. Incan Gold over here is from Eagle Griffin Games. This is an older title that constantly gets reprinted, and I understand why. It has a charm, it has an appeal. It is a push-your-luck, not mass market game, but that mid-range between gamers and mass market. It's going to be, it's on BGA. You can play it on Board Game Arena if you want to check that out there, or you can just pick it up wherever you want. This newest version does have some new expansions in it, I believe. I believe they're new. I mean, it has expansions in it. I believe they are new. But Incan Gold, the general idea of this game is it's a push-your-luck game for 3 to 8 players. The general idea is, I already said general idea twice now, we'll try to avoid saying it again, but in the game, you're going to be diving into a temple, and every single turn you have to decide whether you're staying or withdrawing. The problem is, whenever you withdraw, you're sharing the current pool of loot with the various players. When you keep going further, you're potentially signing up for more and more loot as you go. So there's an interesting trade-off of trying to find the right time to withdraw, because you're constantly drawing these cards, and when too many of the same symbol are drawn, you bust, and you are no longer going to get anything that round. It's all about trying to get the most gold across multiple rounds of play, probably trying to know when to stay in and when to withdraw. The mini expansions add event cards, and then a new thing, instead of just staying or withdrawing, there's also assisting. I'm not going to get into it. It's a little more complicated than I need for the sake of this little review here, but nice little additional variety. As far as my thoughts and opinions on the game, I think Incan Gold is a solid push-your-luck game. It's not my personal favorite push-your-luck game. I do think that it works well at higher player counts. That's why I'd recommend this the most. If you want a push-your-luck game that's going to handle 5 to 8 players, where many of the ones I like more don't, I think this is a solid game. Otherwise, I think there are games that are either more interesting, more straightforward, more clever in different ways. I do think Incan Gold is fun. I've enjoyed playing it, but for me, the main place it exists is specifically that 5 to 8 player range. If you're playing it from 2 to 4 players, well, you can't play this at 2, but if you're playing it at anything at 2 to 4 players, I'd recommend probably Can't Stop or, what's the other one? Captain Carcass, Captain Cutlass, something like that. Dead Man's Draw. It has a few names and versions, but I recommend those instead. But Incan Gold, for me, it's a 3.5 out of 5. It's fun, it's good. I just personally prefer other games in the genre, unless you're looking at higher player counts. Next up, let's go into a party game over here. We have Lineup. Lineup the game over here. This is a game by Cut. It's a party game where you get to know your friends. The general idea is you ask a question. The question might be, let's find an actual question. What's the least amount of money it would take you to get you to fist fight a raccoon? It's very specific. What is the least amount of money it would take you to get you to fistfight a raccoon? Fistfight a raccoon, I'm worried about rabies there. I actually just got my tetanus shot, so I'm fine there. So rabies shouldn't be that much of a... I mean, rabies could still be a factor. Tetanus is not a factor. Those are different things. I don't know why I confuse those. So for me, I don't know, $2,000 sounds reasonable. I'm going to put $2,000 as the least amount of money it would take me. Now, everyone is writing their cards down, their answers down. This game plays up to 8 players, 4 to 8 players. Everyone's writing their answers down. But the thing that's interesting is when you're done doing that, you as the person who gave, every person at the table, one person is effectively the person who gets to define the question. So you get to ask clarifying questions. So for example, a player at the table can sit there and say, well, do we know for sure that the raccoon does not have rabies? And you as the judge can say, you know what? We don't know. Or you can say, no, we know it does not have rabies. So you can ask clarifying questions to define the answer. Each turn, a single person is the defining answer to define the question. And then after that, players go ahead and select their own little tableau of 3 people who they think they're going to rank the least, medium, and most who answer that question. So for example, someone looking at me, it seems like Alex is a reasonable guy. He probably went for a mid-range number like that. I don't know exactly. I'm going to put him in the middle. Meanwhile, Joe at the table over there, Joe, there's no way on earth that he's fighting a raccoon ever. Like, he would back away from... I'm going to put Joe at the high end. And Sarah's a crazy person, and I'm going to go ahead and just say Sarah would do it for $5, because honestly, Sarah even likes raccoons. And so you put those answers down, and then you reveal those answers. And depending on how many people you got right in that order, because you're not looking at the whole table, you're specifically judging from the people who you did choose that you're going to select. That's basically the game. And then you get points, and you can play as long as you want. And of course, as it is obligatory, there is an NSFW, a not safe for work expansion in this box, to give you all kinds of inappropriate questions to do the exact same thing, but with like jokes about sex and poop and all those kinds of things mixed in. Anyways, that's the line of the game. My thoughts and opinions of this one. I find party games for me are almost always fun, and it takes something special for me to actually care. This is fun. I've played it multiple times. I don't care. It's not a negative thing. I think if you want to have fun with Line Up the Game, you'll have fun with Line Up the Game. I could have fun with most party games, but I find most party games are also forgettable. I have fun because I'm with a good group of people having a good time, and then I move on and never care to ask to play that game again. Unless you're one of the awesome party games, or at least the awesome ones for me, in which case I do. So for me, that's going to put this ranking at a very specific 3 out of 5. It's fun, it's enjoyable, no complaints. If I never play it again, I don't think I care. Moving on from there, we'll go to the other party game, which is going to be the exact same review, but just with a different game. But everything I said for the rating and the answer are going to be exactly the same for Change My Mind. Change My Mind is slightly different. This one asks you a question. Let's see if we can find a little card over here. Let's pull a card out over here. We've got our various tokens over there. We have our completely unnecessary event deck over here, which I think is just a worse way to play the game. I mean, if you play this game a ton, you want the variety, sure, but otherwise, that just gives losers cards to be able to like play. It gamifies this way in a way you could throw that out, in my opinion. But we have a card. What? I'm not. Okay, here we go. I didn't even understand this wasn't like a problem with what the content was. I don't understand the question because of the way this game works. Anyways, let's go with this. Nope, not going to do that one. We're going to stick to the appropriate questions. Nope. There are NSFW things because apparently when any party game that has opinions, you have to have an NSFW expansion. So, there we go. Ooh, this is a good one to do for a bunch of people who are gamers watching this video. So, it's a Kickstarter exclusive. Look at that. It's a Kickstarter exclusive card over there, which makes sense. This one is going to be a card where I'm going to go ahead and here's what we're going to do, okay? We're going to have this card over here. I'm going to take some tokens over here, and we're going to zoom in a bit more so you can see what's going on. The card as the questionnaire. So much laughter you pee your pants, okay? So I'm going to rank this in order from most to least. Let's do least to most, okay? Least to most. And the game has a thing where you just define whether you're doing most to least to most. Other players have their own answers, but we don't need this for the sake of showing you how to play the game. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rank these and these things. Which one is the least to most as far as the so much laughter you pee your pants? What's closest to peeing your pants in the amount of laughter? So, for example, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, Change My Mind is one of them. Whatever. Let's go ahead and put this in here. We're going to go ahead and do... I do think... Is it that? Like, I think that's what it is. We're going to do that one, okay? We're going to do that one is this. Okay, and this is a bit of a wild card as far as that. We're going to do... I think this one is the least. So this is the most. This is the least. I think, arguably, this one is next, as much as I resent saying that. And then we'll go this one over here and this one over here, okay? This is what's going on as far as which game promotes the most laughter. Not the best games, which game gives you the most laughter. Now, you as the players get to put your own tokens face down, and you go ahead and put what you think I put. But then, the game's called Change My Mind for a reason, I flip my tokens, no one else flips theirs, I flip my tokens and I show, hey, I believe that you're going to have the most laughter from Time's Up. Then I think you're going to have the second most laughter from Cards Against Humanity, the third most laughter from Telestrations, the fourth most laughter from Change My Mind, and the least laughter from Wits and Wagers. That's what I think. And now the other players all have a chance to change my mind. Basically, that's what they do. They have a chance to change my mind. They try to argue and try to get me to, like, no, what are you talking about? Time's Up has no laughter. How could you? Have you played Cards Against Humanity? Remember the time we were playing and this and this and this? They have a chance to basically try to convince you that you are wrong. And then after that, you're allowed to change your answer as much as you want. And then players reveal their answers, and you get points for how right you were after you had a chance to change someone's mind. There's a lot of cards in the box. That's the basic idea of the game, and see everything I said, but line up for my rating. It's a fun game. I had fun playing it. I don't mind the process of answering a fun question, learning a little bit about each other, having the opportunity to remind you of that one time you said this, or that how this makes no more sense, or that raccoons do have rabies, and therefore you should change your answer. All those kinds of things. It's cute. It's fun. If I never play it again, I also don't care. That's going to be a solid 3 out of 5. Next up, we have Cafe Baras over here. Cafe Baras from KTBG. This is another KTBG small box game, and in this one, you're basically trying to organize a cafe. You're going to start with some basic cards, and you're trying to get various symbols, because symbols are going to be required to score cards, but you're going to want multiple different types of symbols for different things. And I realize I'm not explaining that the best, but in the game, you're basically going to be using cards as currency, cards for the symbols, and cards to fulfill orders. They are multi-use cards in the game. Meanwhile, you're trying to build up the best cafe with the right symbols, with the right decor, the right background, more tea, more coffee, more sandwiches, more bean soup, whatever it is. You're trying to do all that in this kind of fairly quick-moving, plain tableau building game of just trying to build up a cafe, cash in a bunch of orders, and then win the game. That's basically, it's pretty straightforward, pretty quick, and overall, I think it's decently fun. I had a lot of fun building up my cafe in this one. It is on the lighter side, take that into account, but that is what you expect from a KTBG board game, Kids Table Board Games. It's definitely on the lighter side, but I think it's got a lot of charm, whimsical little charm with the little Baras over here. Baras, is that what they're called? But yeah, a lot of just charm in the game, solid art, straightforward rules, like 2-3 pages of rules, and it is fun to go through that process of trying to get the right cards and trying to not outwit, but basically get to those orders and those the winning effectively faster than your opponent does. To me, I had a decent time with this one. This is a 3.5 out of 5. Not the best game I played, but far from the worst either. I had fun with this one. If you're looking for a game that gives you that tableau building, order fulfillment, contract, I think it's called contract fulfillment, I think that's what it's called, or whatever it is as far as the game mechanic. But if you're looking for that, I think Cafe Baras is a solid time. Moving up, we have Tanis. Tanis over here. Tanis, another Eagle Griffin Games, designed by Phil Walker Harding, and unfortunately, this might be my least favorite Phil Walker Harding game I've played, and it's not even a bad game, to be clear. This isn't a bad game at all. I usually expect Phil Walker Harding games to be a little better for me, and this one was okay at best. For me, this one basically is this is a game which you're going to have this little box over here. Let's see if we can open this up. And over here we have a bunch of tokens, and players are trying to gather these tokens. It's a 2-player game specifically. You could use this if you want. I really didn't need to. And you're basically trying to gather various tiles from this board. So for example, maybe I take this tile over here because I want that 7 because it's close to a 6, but also it's close to this 8. Then it's your turn and you can take a tile from the board. You'll notice only half tiles are revealed. Once you take this tile, it's going to reveal 2 new tiles, and we don't even know what color those tiles are underneath. So you have that element. You always have tiles partially overlaid, so you never have a direct reveal, but rather it will always require 2 tiles to reveal the next tile. But the good news is you also have a hand of ability cards, because on your turn you either take a tile or you use one of your 6 ability cards. There's more advanced cards, we won't go into them. So when I use those 6 ability cards, for example, maybe I use there's one of them that says, you can destroy your tile and then take another tile. Maybe I'll do that one. So I'll go ahead and destroy this tile and then take one of these tiles. Oh, that was a mistake. I should have realized that was that way. I guess I'm taking the 5 over here. So I now take that over there, and I'm going to take that tile, hoping to connect it with the 6 and then the 7. You see that, and so you use your special card that says take 2 tiles right away, and you take the 6 and the 7, hoping that you'll be able to get the 8. So you have this little back and forth where you're trying to take tiles, and the reason you're taking these tiles is you want sequential tiles. That's what you want. So you want, within the same color, you want sequences to be made, because a tile on its own is worth 0 points. 2 tiles worth 1 point, but then it goes up more and more as you get tiles, to the point that I think if you have like 6 tiles, it's worth like 14 points. So you want to get the sequences, and the tiles range from 1 to 10, unless you're using the God expansion, in which case the tiles range from 1 to 8, and you have these extra God tiles, where when you get a matching set of God tiles, you get 5 points for a matching set. Basic idea, trying to take tokens from a box, trying to be mindful of denying your opponent, using your abilities, because again, you only have 6 ability cards, using your abilities at the right point in time, where you can go ahead and both gain yourself the most points and deny your opponents. Fairly straightforward 2-player back and forth game. It's fine. It's totally fine. I played this with the base game. I played this with the God mode. I played this with the advanced tiles. It's an okay game. I don't mind it at all. It's a cute little puzzly, grab some tiles in the box. I think I like the idea of it and the table presence more. To me, it's a 3 out of 5. I've had fun with it. Again, played it multiple times. Definitely not a bad game, but it is a it's also not one that I'm going to miss if I don't play again. And I think that for me, Phil Walker Harding, I usually expect a minimum of a 3.5 from a Phil Walker Harding game. His stuff is almost always very enjoyable. This is the first game I've played from him that was, again, still enjoyable, I just don't care. Then we have Mind Up. Mind Up over here. Mine is going to be from Pandasaurus Games. This is also available on BGA. In fact, are there any other ones? I don't know. I don't know if any of the rest are on BGA. But Mind Up is a game. How to best do this over here. We have gold cards. We have, let me see if I can show you over here. The basic idea of Mind Up is we're trying to, let's put some cards on the table. So in Mind Up, you're going to have your own cards. You're going to have your own hand of cards. And you're trying to play cards to gather cards from the table. So for example, if we put down the, these 2 cards over here, let's sort of pretend we're playing a 2-player game for simplicity. Let's zoom out a drop, and we have these 2 cards over here. Meanwhile, each player has their own hand of cards that they're going for over here. So you have your own hand of cards, which you can't see because I didn't zoom out nearly enough to go ahead and show you that. And the other player has their own hand of cards, and you don't know their hands of cards. What you do know is that in the game, you're also going to have a sequence of how the cards score. So let's try to find these over here. So for example, you're going to go ahead and say that this round, we're going to shuffle these up. You're going to say that right now, the current scoring for this round is as follows. Your first card that you get is going to be worth 2 points per card of that color. Your second component is going to be 1, then 4, then 3, then 5. And this is random. It's always 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The order varies. And so I look at my hand over here, and I really should have more cards, but don't worry about that. I look at my hand over here, and I'm like, you know what? I think there's a lot of orange, so I ideally want to get orange cards to like my 4. Like my 5 might be too hard, but I want to get them for my 4. So if I don't want orange to be stuck at 2, because I know a lot of orange is in play, I have to play a high card. So I'm going to play my highest card over here, which is a 44. This player, kind of looking at the same thing, but they see no orange. So they don't mind having their orange. They have at least one blue, so they don't really know. But they go ahead and put down a 13, let's say. They'll put down a 13 and see how that plays out. So they put down a 13, and because of it, these should be ordered, by the way. I actually did that wrong. I did that wrong. I should be playing my lowest card. Here's my lowest card over here. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and reveal the cards, and you're going to order them based on the numbers you gave. So in this case, I played the 8. I'm going to take the 40, and the 40 is going to go over here in this pile. They played the 13. That means they're going to put a 46 in their equivalent pile, and then these cards become the next cards for the round. If I successfully, well, this round I'm kind of in trouble. I could take the blue again, but the problem is if I don't get the blue, the orange is going to be worth 1 point, which is even worse for me. So maybe I go ahead and I play again a low card over here, hoping for, no, I want a higher card. I'm going to play my 44, hoping to get that blue over there. They play a 42. Ooh, it's close, but I do get that blue. It's going to go over here. And then this one again goes to their orange pile. It's worth 2 points. And then we again put that up there. You're going to be doing this back and forth. The general idea being that cards are worth the points per that color. So these are worth 2 points each. +1, -1, so you also have those modifiers, and you're trying to build a sequence where you're going to have those cards, where you're going to get the right cards in the right scoring spot so they maximize your score. You do that across a few rounds, and that's basically the game. There's also a few bonus goal cards as well, these little cards as well, so you can have bonus goals in play, but the basic idea is you play a few rounds of this, try to score as many points as possible by trying to be mindful of where you're placing a card in a sequence, hoping to get the right color of cards that will work for you, and then that's a little bit more or less chaotic depending on the player count. At lower player counts, there's a lot more control. Higher player counts is a little more chaotic, but that's basically Mind Up. And again, you can try it on BGA, Board Game Arena, if you want to give it a shot. It's very straightforward, very easy to play. That is Mind Up. As far as rating and reviewing this one, these types of games are a dime a dozen. There are a lot of games that have a fun little simple like card play mechanism of a cute way to get extra points. I like Mind Up. It's very similar to many other games I've played, even just the nature of the scoring progression. Recently we played River Valley Glassworks, that's a game I covered on the channel. Has the same idea of trying to be mindful of where something scores to maximize efficiency. I think Mind Up is a fun game. I've enjoyed playing Mind Up. It's a 3.5 out of 5. It's just this game, this genre is very, very crowded. And as much as I enjoy this one, again, giving it a 3.5, it's not a 3, it's a 3.5. Definitely like it. I do think it's a very crowded genre and one that's a little harder to stick out. I still think it's fun. But I think that for me, I probably have better games that do this kind of thing. Like River Valley Glassworks, that's the same mechanic with a little more elegance. If I want a game that's about the juggling of trying to figure out which cards to get, Colorado is brutal. So it's definitely a good game, just hard to stand out in this type of space. There's so many types of that game out there. And that's what we have for our 6 small box game reviews. We have Lineup and Change My Mind as 2-party games that get a 3 out of 5. We have Tanis over here that gets another 3 out of 5. Didn't love this one as much as I was hoping to. And then we have Incan Gold, Baras, and Mind Up that all get a 3.5 out of 5. That's what we have for your 6 small box game reviews. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.